That was awesome.
I know, it's a neat surprise, isn't it?
Oh, that is like the best intro, and you haven't even said anything yet.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Tanya, who is our gorgeous expert on tonight. Let me just make sure we've got some bubbles up. Show display names. There we go. How does it get any better? All right, let me just make sure I've shared everything okay.
How good is Lorene? Like, her presentation to start is just epic. I think I've ever seen anybody put so much effort into doing something like this. You're just amazing. You just blow me away.
And just because we can, there was a bit of a ding from the crystal. Just because we can. All right. Let me just get that in there. Make sure we've got no feedbacks happening at my end, which is excellent.
It sounds pretty good on my end.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
All right. Fantastic. So, Tanya, thank you for coming to play.
Thank you for having me.
So, let's see. Where shall we start today? Tanya, I met Tanya
1 or 2 years ago?
Couple of years ago, I think. Yeah, at the Healing Through Love event. And I was doing some readings with my cards, as I do, and Tanya was on the other side of the same little room doing her Healy and giving people Healy sessions. And we just had the most briefest of meetings then, but she's such a great connector that she made sure that she had her phone number in my phone. And I know, because it's still in there today as Tanya Benlow HTL contact.
Oh, wow. There you go. Memorable. That's so lovely.
And then later on, Tanya and I just started connecting, and then she was talking to me about this water thing, and I was just sort of like, hey, this sounds interesting. What's all that about? And then out from that blossomed a beautiful friendship. So now I have the privilege of having the incredible Tanya on my show, my little podcast here. And she's had given me the privilege of being on a spotlight on some of her groups and things, which is really cool. And I feel very privileged to have that too. Yes. So Tanya, I would like to know, how did you begin on your spiritual journey?
Really, I suppose a very interesting one. And this was before my mum. My mum was a spiritual healer, but she didn't become a spiritual healer until she was in her 40s. But I started having a lot of different experiences, from a very young age at home, and didn't know who to talk to about it. So it was really interesting. And then my main first real I did a lot of spiritual healing and things like that with some friends that I hadn't met growing up, but I probably didn't have my real spiritual experience, like really full on one, until just after I had a spinal fusion and I had a healing from three people, 3 spirits, I would say, or 3 entities. So it was quite an interesting experience. I don't know whether to tell the story or not. It's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
But I was visiting my grandfather with my mum, and we were in their house, and Nana had passed away. And I was in a pretty bad way. I wasn't too far off out of having the 2 spinal fusions, so I couldn't really walk very well. I used to use 2 walking sticks, and I was in immense pain. But we wanted to go and see my grandfather because we didn't think he was going to stay around for long or make it through that Christmas. And I woke up in the middle of the night before I was leaving there, and I had not long gone to bed, and I was laying on my stomach, and I had felt like hands on both sides of my body pull and wrench me across the bed and actually pull the pain out of my body. Like it was a really like a cathartic moment to feel this pain just get really ripped out. Felt like someone was ripping the spine out, and the pain was gone. Like my husband can't believe it. No one can believe that pain, which was hideous, completely went. So that was probably my first spiritual experience. And they staged there that evening. I woke up again during the middle of the night, found the three of them standing at the end of my bed, and I was terrified. I did run out, and back then I used to smoke cigarettes. So I ran outside and had about 5 cups of coffee and about a packet of cigarettes, and I didn't go to sleep for the rest of that night. I was terrified. But it was the most unbelievable experience of my life. To have the pain taken out of my spine was unbelievable. My husband just couldn't believe it either, because I got on a plane and a train flight the next day, and I got from Melbourne to Adelaide, and I had no pain for ages. So it was really, so that just shows me that there is something out there. So yeah, I've had a lot of different experiences, and then Mum became a spiritual healer, did a lot of different modalities, and then so when I had further surgeries, she did a lot of my healing for me as well. She did Reiki healing also. So yeah, it's sort of been ingrained, in through my family and friends. And when I was growing up, from the age of 10, I used to go to meditation at this lady's house in Bright, right out in the bush, and she was a really spiritual lady, like something really off this planet. And she would do all sorts of different things. So that was probably one of my most incredible experiences, seeing lots of different things that you wouldn't normally see and experience, right from a young teenager. So, so I've had an interesting thing, and a lot of people say, I should get into it, but I enjoy coming to seeing people like you and experiencing that. So, so I've been... I suppose really I'm open to anything and everything, because I really believe that, we are beings of frequency. So we really are energy beings, and just understanding that, we can heal on many different levels, and I've certainly experienced that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that you were a trained chef, and you spent a lot of years being a trained chef. And I remember having a conversation with you one day around that, and you're like, I'm not a healer. And I'm just like, dude, the amount of energy and love you put into your food.
Yeah.
It's like that truly it heals people. You just don't realize it.
Yes. And I think, like I was born to be a chef. Like at the age of 6, I knew I was going to be a chef. And I never had a wavering moment that was ever going to change. And so I started my apprenticeship when I was 14 and a half, and was one of those natural chefs that could just throw everything together, never needed recipes. I can smell if it needs salt and pepper. I don't know how, but, I never really tasted a lot of stuff. I just knew what needed to go in. And so same sort of thing now, even now. Like you said, I everybody has a passion of love or something like that, and mine's food. And I have found that because it's not my back injury wasn't my first one. That was the start of my my injuries through my life. But I have found that every single time that something significant's happened in my life, I've had to come back and look at the health and wellness around food. Everything we intake is how we heal. So if we're not eating properly and that kind of thing. And now my journey is around that sustainable living, chemical-free living, composting, making my own soil to grow my own herbs. So my herbs taste amazing. So, really taking everything onto that really different level. But Mum and Dad always taught us about gardening from a very young age, which was good. So, but I love to cook. Even though I'm not a chef anymore, I got out of it a long time ago. I love cooking. I love food.
What's your favorite recipe that you remember from when you were young?
Probably just loved Italian food. My one of the restaurants I worked in, an Italian restaurant, Maria used to make her pasta every day, and she used to make the most exquisite marinara. Oh my God, I'd have it for dinner every night. And back then you think, geez, I should have been the size of a house back then, but you would work 7 days a week, crazy hours, and you never got really much of a life. So you probably burnt it off back then. And we used to snow ski all the time, so we were always, very athletic, living up in the snowfields. So Yeah, Italian's always been my favourite thing. My two best friends were Italian, so I think that was my passion, my love. Is I was taught in French and Italian a la carte. So I worked in a couple of pubs, and my last pub that I worked in when I gave up my career when I was 24 was actually the Bridgewater Hotel just around the corner here.
Oh, wow.
So the irony of that, 25 years ago leaving, or 20 years ago leaving Adelaide from that job, and now I've come back. And it's funny going back to the pub for a dinner and just think, wow, I used to work here. Yeah, so.
Oh, absolutely. I had a similar experience when I went back to Hastings in New Zealand and went back to the Thai place that I worked at. And it was just like, this is so trippy. I'm like standing there ordering food. And I used to work here. In fact, I was part of the startup staff. So it was just it was real weird.
Yeah.
That was where I got my love of Thai, though.
Oh,
I was actually working in a Thai restaurant. Yeah. And we would all sit down at the end of the night and we'd gather together. Like the cooks would just cook up whatever was left, and then we'd sit down and share a meal. And quite often the cooks would cook meals that were not on the menu. So these were things that they were home meals, village meals.
Yeah,
and so they were just so good, but freaking hot.
It's good to get that hot. The taste of using good chili, though.
Yeah. And it's like I learned how to eat hot food because I would, of course, you just don't let it touch your lips. If you let it touch your lips, everything's over.
Don't breathe in. Don't go.
Yeah. So it was like, and you have just a little bit of the sauce or curry or whatever, and a lot of rice. And that's actually how they eat it too. And that's what I noticed, that they eat a lot of rice and only a little bit of the sauce or the curry or whatever. Whereas we tend to go the other way around. We eat a lot of the meal base and a little bit of rice. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting to see the difference in the cultures.
Yes, yeah. I've done a couple of trips to Thailand. Went with Mum and one of my friends the first time. And last time I went with Dale. And one of my favourite spots we stayed was Bonham Phuket. It's a tiny little town called Rawai, and it's not a tourist town. It's not a place where tourists go, because we always we flew into a place and then we'd go and find these weird places, off the chart, that little town where there's no tourists, and we'd go and stay there. And just to experience the food and the culture there was amazing. And we loved the fresh chilies, like just having good food. And there was one little place we stayed at. I think it cost us $20 a night to stay there. It was so nice. And 2 doors up, there was a massage parlour. So I knocked on the door to see if I could have a massage, and it was only the locals went in there. There was no tourists. And I ended up having a massage for an hour for $3 by a blind lady. And it was amazing. It was so good because she just felt everything, she could really feel. And I went back a couple of times. Yeah, it was amazing. I gave her a bit more money than $3. But, you just realised the culture is amazing. So, yeah, food's my jam.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So in your spiritual journey, where did the consciousness side start really flowing for you? What does consciousness mean to you?
I think more so it's just not understanding it, but just feeling it, and just trusting and knowing that there is, a higher purpose out there than us. And I think, I've seen some amazing different people that do different things, but you've taken me onto maybe a different level plane, and understanding that a little bit more on a few different ways, which I hadn't experienced before.
Wow.
So that was good. And it's just about understanding, I think, just trusting and knowing what it is, and not questioning it. I think if you question things, you don't become a believer. Just know that it is what it is, Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. How do you answer that question? There's no right or wrong.
No, there isn't.
It's about how does that make you feel. I just I truly believe that, everything out there is, on a spiritual level really is there. And I think if you open your life up to it, it opens your life up to a lot of things rather than being very, I suppose people can be very closed-minded, and that's what keeps people closed-minded, because they're not open to possibilities of what if, and what if I just let go? That could be a whole new conversation. What if I let go? And I was thinking about this a bit earlier, I suppose that, and a lot, if and that's about people not even loving themselves or finding that deep inner love. And, I know people, I can't say who they are, but I know people who are like that, and they're afraid to love. And if they're afraid to love, they're not afraid to let go and just allow life to happen to you, so that can, close you off to all sorts of possibilities. And I think for me, I'm so open that I'll allow everything to come to me. And, sometimes, like some stuff that happened today with Karen and I, we're sitting there talking about all this stuff that can actually really happen. And then, just by the odd chance, we walked across the road and everything happened. And we just walked out there and just went, oh, this was just like too weird. But, we just walked out there, had this big hug in the car park, and we're doing a happy dance. And we're just like, you know what? We put that out to the universe by sitting there having a coffee and just going, this really can happen. Like, let's make all this sort of stuff happen. So we talked about things that we can do. And she goes, I just knew I needed to see you today. I needed to hear that I could actually do this. So,
Exactly.
I think it just opens your universe to a whole lot of new things. Anything's possible. Yeah, when you keep it open.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's one of the greatest gifts that you be, is along with cooking absolutely incredibly yummy food. It's just like I'll just go and whip something up. Next thing comes out with 2 gourmet pizzas. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah. Well, a chef never has an empty fridge. Just in case someone's going to pop over.
Just come up for a meal. It's all right. I'll just whip something up. Next thing you know, it's a whole bench full of yummy stuff.
Oh, you'll never go hungry coming to my place.
No.
Yeah. I worked as a nanny just around the corner in Bridgewater many years ago for a really high-flying sort of family, and but they were doctors and surgeons, and the 2 young boys, I used to come home. She hardly ever shopped, and I'd come home, the fridge is empty, and I would cook a casserole or a meal. And the boys loved it. They had everything that I ate. And Mum would come home, try and cook them something. The boys wouldn't eat what she tried to cook them. And she'd come home and she goes, how did you cook that out of nothing that was in the fridge? I said, well, I just need 1 onion, 1 carrot, 1 potato, 1 bit of this, and a bit of sauce, a bit of this. I found some wine in the cupboard. And I just throw it all together and out it comes. And so, that's what I've always been like, just like, I love to have fun, everything's got to taste good. So, yeah. And I started just recently, just for something fun to do, was sharing some of my videos. So I started doing a few live videos on my Facebook page, just sharing some money-saving ideas and recipes, because, a lot of people are under financial strain at the moment. So I thought, I've actually started looking at this because I've been cooking meals for our parents quite a lot over the last couple of years, because they're struggling to cook food. So if I make something, I'll make 2 or 3 times the amount and take them over dinner a couple of nights a week. And so I thought, I should probably do a video on this and that kind of thing. And so I started doing it, and I thought I'm going to do like a leftovers quiche. I'll probably do it tomorrow. So once a week, I love to just pull all the shit out of the fridge and just go, what have I got here? And then I make so like quiches or frittatas. So I'll probably make 2. And so they'll be just slightly different, and just use everything that's left over in the fridge. So, even if you've got half a potato, a couple of tomatoes, a couple of this, a couple of that, some eggs, and bits and pieces. And so I've been doing that for a couple of months, and only about once a week. And And then every time I go somewhere, someone's like, "Oh my God, I see your video. That's really good." And, I had another lady send me some messages the other day, and she goes, "I made your beef stroganoff the other day. I followed your recipe exactly." She goes, "Oh my God, that was the most exquisite stroganoff I've ever eaten." Mind you, I forgot to bring yours down. I have to make another batch.
You got busy. It's all good.
And so that's quite funny, it just goes to show you how easy you can help and please other people by just sharing what you know. It's just that simple. And if you can change someone's life or save them some money just in their shopping bill, that's great. And it's the simple things that I have found. I've actually, because I don't work, I physically work, I just sort of go, what's in the shop? I look through all the prices of the meat and think, well, what's the cheapest cost of meat I can buy and what can I make out of it? So that was the blade steak. So I went and found the blade steak, and one day I bought 3 of them and I made this exquisite beef Rogan Josh curry. Oh my God. But I used the whole 3, chopped it all up.
Wow.
Made enough for about 6 months. It's in the freezer. But that's the beauty of it,
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to do a little shout out to Brooke, who's another wonderful chef. Well, he's a chef at home. He also does really yummy recipes, cooking meals.
Yep.
He's a bit of an extraordinaire in the kitchen as well.
Yep.
Put you two against each other. Have a competition.
You could have a weekender.
But so he's like, yum, no recipe, just good food.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Agree. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, Brooke. This is great.
Interesting conversation. We haven't even gotten to the juicy part yet.
No. It's all juicy to me.
Good, hearty conversation.
Mm-hmm. It's about, this show really truly is about just people getting to know my guests and getting to know them not just from the businesses that they do, but getting to know them from that heart-centered space that they truly function from.
Yeah.
To me, that's really what this business, that's what this particular show, Tasty Tuesdays, is all about. It's tasty. It's getting into the tasty bits of, because so often people hop on shows like this and they just go biz, 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 biz. And it's just like, no, I want to know more about you. Because that's how people are going to connect with you, is if they connect with your heart, if they connect with your vibe, if they connect with your mind, if they love your sense of humor, all that sort of stuff. And if you love chili, apparently.
I even have, I still got it on the bench. Let me show you this. I grew this chili, a little chili plant, and I had so much of it. I've nearly finished it, but I chopped it all up and made my own chili oil. So I've got loads of it. And I just seem to put a teaspoon almost on everything. I've become such a chili addict, but it's got some punch to it. But yes, love chili.
Love chili. So Brooke says, nice.
So we'll have to have a dinner weekend.
That sounds great. So I'd like to know, what is the aim, talking now about business, there's a bit of a story that leads into your business and how you got into being a water queen. We sort of touched just briefly on it. So as to where things sort of started for you with your back injuries and getting your spinal fusions and things like that. But how did you get into the water side of things?
Well, I was working as a manager at TAFE up in Cairns, running a big portfolio up there, and I had another accident at work. I was at a function. It was the Cairns Business Women's function, and I went with quite a few of the teachers, and we took a lot of TAFE bags, handed them out, and I was walking down the stairs of the car park, and I had a fall down the staircase, and had very significant damage out of there, which basically threw me out of my career completely. So I managed to go back to work for about 10 to 15 years full time, pretty much, after my spinal fusions. That took 5 years to heal first before I went back to work. And this one just knocked me out, So I think the interesting thing that I've learned every time is something significant happens to me every time to keep pushing me forward into something new and different, which is kind of good. So I've had a major career change from every single one of them. So the first one was cooking. I worked for a food manufacturer for 8 years. Then I damaged my spine. So then I started working in education and training. And that job took me all around the countryside. So I had the most amazing jobs. Like, I met the most amazing people. I went to every business, every company, you know. I met extraordinary people, and I met such extraordinary people, like even Phil Britton, who I met in person. Made a quick short story on that one. You know, this is where you meet extraordinary people by just chance jobs. And I got into Perth, and we were traveling around Australia, and somebody reached out and offered me a job, and they paid me $110,000 to work for them for 6 months. And I was like, you want to pay me what? And she's like, we know you're really good at what you do. We want you to run a campaign and we're going to pay you this. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. So I had this amazing job, and I had to go out, and we were creating a one-day positivity campaign Australia-wide for workplaces and everybody to create a positive action. And so I met this guy. Well, I was going door knocking, meeting people, meeting CEOs of companies. I met this guy, Phil Britton, and he had the most extraordinary story I've ever come across. And he was a survivor of the Bali bombing. And, you know, he had a football career, amazing career in front of him that came to a slamming halt. And then he created his dojo gym. And then also and I kept in contact with him. And then when COVID hit, he transformed his 3 big dojo gyms to the online space. So this goes to show you, whatever the adversities that we all go in life, everything happens for a reason, and quite often to push us to the new direction. And I thought, how cool is this? So I've always learnt something new out of everyone, and realised, okay, if this is happening to me now, what do I need to do to take away from this? What did I need to learn a lesson? Each lesson, I have learned a lesson, and it was be careful what I said. Because each of them, I was so burnt out, and I would go outside and I would say to myself, I wish something would change so that I could get out of this job. And so far out, sorry, I nearly swore then. It's like calling that into the universe. And every significant accident happened from me wishing that. So after the second time I did it, I thought, I better never say that again, ever. So, so when this happened, I had 4 major surgeries in 2019. So it was extremely severe. When I fell down the wall, down the stairs, I hit the wall in front of me, and I came down and hit the wall in front of me really hard. So I put my hand up to stop my head hitting the wall. But what I did was I lifted my arm right up, back, and put all my thoracic region back out. I recorded it at work, but I thought I'd just, put my back out and put my neck out. Went to the chiropractor half a dozen times and thought I was fine. And it wasn't until sort of 6, 8, 9 months later, the injury started really surfacing, and my shoulder was dislocating all the time. And so I went to saw a surgeon. She said, you've got this really big cyst in there, and that was dislocating it. But it wasn't until we had the surgery that they found that I'd actually basically almost tore the whole shoulder open. So I had to have it re-anchored back in, so it's all pinned back in. So they did a full, what they call a slap repair. And but when they anchor the shoulder out, they damaged all that main nerve line that went down my whole arm and hand. So I woke up in this extremely raging pain, and it wasn't until a few months later they worked out that it wasn't the surgery pain. I kept saying it was something else, that it was the ulnar nerve, which is the main one that runs down your hand. So then they had to cut all the elbow open down through here to decompress all the nerves. And I lost the use of my 3 fingers because the hands curl right over. So they had to cut all the hands open, lengthen all the tendons in the fingers. And just 4 weeks after they did that, then they did my hip surgery. So as soon as one was healing enough, they did the next surgery. So I was all over the place. And then I had to have a scooter because I couldn't use this arm at all because I was in casts. I've got casts I have to show them to you one day. These casts which hold my hand and my hands out straight, and I had to sleep with my arm out on the side like this for 3 years. I could never bend it. because as soon as you bend it, you crush the nerve in your arm. So I had to always have the arm out. And I'm left-handed, so it damaged all my left hand. And so I couldn't paint. For 3 years, I couldn't wear my rings because my fingers were swollen like so big. And I had chronic regional pain syndrome, so my hands were purple and just swollen all the time. And I had to wear compression bandages from the shoulder to the hands to try and stop the swelling. And had lots of needles in my neck and everywhere to try and stop the nerve pain. And I did actually ask the doctors to amputate my arm because I just had enough. And not long after they did my hip operation, my back collapsed. So which was just like one after the other. And that was because I'd lost all my core muscle strength. So I thought, well, I'm pretty much done here. I'm not going back to, probably will never go back to work again. I need to find something to get my mind into something new, take my thought process off what was going on with me and my healing, allow that to, because it was a work cover claim. So I knew how to work a work cover claim by then. So I was going to the pool every day. I was going to the rehab every day. I was having physio 2-3 times a week. I was having massages. So I was just focusing on the rehab. But every single day I thought, I've got to learn a new skill. And the funniest thing was I went and signed up to do an MBA because I thought, well, I probably could do a recognition of prior learning, saying I've done this all my life. And then I thought, I signed up, started the first unit, and I thought, what the hell am I doing? I'm never ever going to do that either. So that was going to cost me $35,000 to do that MBA. So I cancelled it. Luckily enough, got a refund. And because of my situation, they gave me a full refund. And so I found, I reached out and I said to a few people, because we were looking for an online business while we were traveling. And we were looking for something we could take in our caravan and travel around Australia. So I reached out to a few people, put a few posts on my social media and said, what are you all doing? You know, I was looking for something different because for 20 years on my other career, I always had multi-level marketing. So I did Tupperware for a couple of years. I did Nutrimedics for about 3 or 4 years. And then I did party lights, sold candles for 9 years. I loved that. I was addicted to candles. And so I have a few. I absolutely love pillars. So I never made any money out of that. It was just, I was substituting a hobby to buy more shit for my house.
Don't we all?
So when we left Cairns and moved to here, I ended up with a whole bedroom full of candles. And I was like, you can't take all that crap with you. I'm like, yes, I can.
You watch me.
Yeah. So I found the new thing that threw me into this was that learning how to leverage social media. And the water business was the product behind it. So and I thought, oh, this is something I reckon I can get my teeth into. And I love drinking water. We're in Cairns, so water was a really big, big thing up there. We just were always dehydrated because we drank 4, 5, 6 liters a day up there. And the more you drank, the more dehydrated we got. So, and then that just took me on this whole learning journey. So because I was earning so much money at TAFE, I was not allowed to earn a second income while I was on work cover. So I thought, but they allowed me to educate myself for something else. So I paid for this social media educational platform, which is how we learn to leverage building a personal brand or building who we are, or anybody might have a business but need to learn how to use social media. But I had no experience whatsoever. I had a Facebook page with 100 people on it. I didn't have an Instagram account, and I was only on LinkedIn. So I thought, oh, well, I've got nothing else to lose, but everything to gain if I learn a new skill. And what if I could make money out of it? I'm like, if this business could replace my 6-figure income, this would be worth looking at. Mm-hmm. And when I saw the compensation plan on how much money I can make on this, and we're talking uncapped income, like if I want to make $1 million a month, I can make $1 million a month. And so I watched this video over and over and again, and I was sitting there going, oh, shit, this is amazing. If all I had to do was sell water ionizers, which is something that everybody needs and wants for their home. But the first thing was I took myself on a learning journey for a whole year because I had a solid reputation I wanted to uphold as well. I spent a whole year just doing medical research because there's a lot of garbage out on Google. So don't believe everything you see on Google. And a lot of people actually get paid to write reviews on Google, so you can't believe everything is on there. So I actually did a lot of medical research, PubMed research, Google Scholar research, watched a lot of TED Talks with doctors and neurosurgeons talking about electrolyzed reduced water, and that's what we talk about, or ionized water. So those two waters have a molecular structure which changes how we absorb water into the body. And I thought, wow, this is phenomenal. But I realized that this journey actually started when I had my spinal fusions, because when I had my spinal fusions, my husband started doing a lot of research. Why do we blow discs in our lower back? And we started, he did all the research because he's the research man. He found out that the discs that in your spine require quite a large amount of water every day. So if we're not hydrating our body, our organs and our spine, so I actually was not hydrated enough when I was working on the road in Cairns. I didn't drink enough water back then. And so that could be the possibility of why I had an unstable spine, didn't take much it's just a repetitive strain injury. And that's what damaged the disc. So, and I thought this all starts making a lot of sense now. And then I learnt about all of our organs, different things. My mum's had bowel cancer. So then I started learning, she's had 9 bowel operations. And just over the last 5 to 6 years, I've learnt more about how our bowel, liver and kidneys need an enormous amount of water every day just to function properly. So, and I thought, geez, I even think this the other day, because the last couple of days, it's been so cold, I haven't drank much water. And unless I fill this up, all my water bottles, and I drink, I know I'm drinking 2 to 3 litres a day because I can measure it. I know I'm not hydrated enough. And this is why you get constipation. As bad as that sounds, that is the biggest cause, because you have not drunk enough water. Mm-hmm. So it just took me in a whole new pathway. So I spent a whole year just absorbed myself on building my social media. And then so I told my family and friends, and I said, I'm going to become an entrepreneur. And I think they all thought I was batshit crazy. And my husband's like, oh, God, here we go again. She's doing another multi-level marketing or something. I said, no, this is not multi-level marketing. I'm direct selling. So I actually sell direct from the manufacturer to a person's home. So I said, I don't have to store stuff. I don't have to buy stuff. I don't actually do any selling as such. We actually have a program and a system that does all the sales process for us, and it's all automated. And he's like, oh, well, I'll sit back and watch and wait for a bit and see what happens. And then after 3 months, he says, okay, what do you need help with? I got his attention now. So I said, I would like you to build me a water website. So we have our own in the back section with the company, but I wanted something a little bit more that was just tailored to me and, felt more about us. And so he's learning new skills as well, which is fantastic. So he's learned how to build websites. He's an IT tech head, he's an architectural drafty, but he's learned how to build websites, sales funnels, email campaigns, and things like that. And he's learned to build all that back end stuff. And so we have quite a few other businesses now we've picked up along the side. So, and that sort of, when you needed help, it was like, oh yeah, Dale could probably help you with that. But so we just learn new skills, and we learn how to leverage social media about being us, because, and I thought, how does that work? And they said, all you got to do is be yourself. Mm-hmm. And people will be attracted to you. And I'm like, okay, this sounds pretty easy. I'm sure I have a lot of stuff to share and tell, and all the things that I've done in my life and learnt. And so that's all I do, and they give us lots of ideas and suggestions. So the next 2 weeks, I've just met 8 other women, 4 I've never even met before, and we're creating webinars together. So we all come together in a community of people where we can do extraordinary things together. We're aligned to the same business, which is the product around the water. But we're all learning new skills, and we get to share, and we get to help each other, and just cheer each other on and go, yes, you can do this. I've got a couple of ladies that only started 3 months ago and 6 months ago, and just seeing how they've transitioned just from being such a quiet, sort of sheltered, person. If you met them and you had a coffee with them, they'd be really, quiet and reserved, to now really standing, like standing strong, talking really well. And I'm like, wow, this is interesting how quickly somebody can change when they're just watching a series of videos and learning the art of storytelling, or learning the art of writing a post, or sharing value. And that's what it's all about. It's about sharing value. And that's what I found, like even just doing my cooking videos, is just sharing value.
Absolutely.
And then people go, oh, I can do that. And I'm like, you can.
Yeah.
Some people just need a little bit of a help to crack open the door of what is possible. So just to put a bit of perspective, the water is the great product, and it's the vehicle sits behind us that we make extraordinary money about. But what it is the platform that helps people create all sorts of things. So last year I took groups of nurses through a tour of it and explained to them how they could come together and create and form a group together, because if there was quite a few that weren't vaccinated and they've lost their jobs. And I said, well, you guys have got so much skill and knowledge. Why don't you come together and create, say, a Facebook group around health and wellness, and deliver different things and talks around what people can learn and do in their home. One lady said she loved to do wound care, and I said, another lady had dealt with elderly people, and I said, well, my mum was really elderly and she'd gone through all their surgeries, and if I knew a bit more about wound care, or understand how to help or work with people with dementia, like all these sorts of things. And they're going, I said, so I took them through an hour experience of what this business can do for them, and how they can put it together and form it, and how to create other different streams of income as well on the side. And so they're really interested, and then I took a whole group of teachers and childcare workers together. And I said, do you realise you can build some little short courses that can be actually sold on affiliated programs that people will pay for, which they find difficult to understand at the start until I show them this and explain it to them. And I said, there's multiple ways of earning stream income online, so it's not just one sort of form. We can show you many, 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 and how to put it all together. And we just show them the place to start, how to create offers. So that offer, we can bring teachers together that can actually work together and do something, create something special and unique. And so, it's not about me. It's about how many people can I help change their life on this planet more than anything. So, and it's just done that for me. So if it's doing it for me, I know everybody else can change their life for the better.
Absolutely. So Brooke has put up a suggestion there of Udemy. So the platform that Tanya's talking about is really specifically designed for, and it's always updated around Facebook and social media, and how to get your business going from a space of like that connection, like she's talking about, with just the becoming, you are the product, you are the person that is at, and people are connecting with you. So like I said before, like that's why a lot of the talks that I talk about, like this Tasty Tuesdays, is about allowing people to connect with the person. And then we put a little bit of business stuff in there, but at the end of the day, what you will be attracted to will be Tanya or Lucy or Brooke or my guest next week, or after that, because actually being able to see them for real people, not just their marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think people get a bit confused by when they look at it, what I do.
Well, you're just yummy. That's what you are.
I think it is something that anybody of any age can do, learn. And this is, we're not just talking Facebook, we're talking every social media channel. So YouTube videos, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, we show you how to create reels, personal branding, color paletting, like it's the biggest social media training platform, I'd have to say, that's on the market. In the first year I started, I've used 5 others. And I also paid for a one to how to monetize Facebook groups. So I did a 12-month course with that as well. Like I really embedded myself in it. I think I spent 40 grand in the first year. My husband had a bit of a fit. And then the next year I tried a couple of others, and I've tried another 2 this year, just so I can say, you know, I've actually seen that. I can actually genuinely say that this is still the best on the market, and it is the cheapest on the market as well, because they built this platform for the people, whereas other people build platforms for themselves or personal gain. These two Aussies and one Canadian realised that if they build a platform for the people, and the people have the control over what they want in it, how they want it to be changing, seeing and evolving, they put the money back into it with all the trainings, they put all the money back into it for all the people they'll hire around specific things. And there's coaches, there's healers in there, there's hypnotherapists in there that do a lot of different things, like, you know. And I think the biggest thing, you know, for you and I when we first started was it's fear and anxiety about being seen coming out of our shelf. We know that we're good in ourselves, but if you're working, you know, you're good at what you do. But when you come on social media, that's a whole new world, you know. And when I did my first videos, they were dreadful. And even my husband said, "Oh shit." And then when I launched my Facebook group and I interviewed Phil Britton, because he was a personal friend, I was so excited. I hardly spoke a word. I was terrified. And then I stopped the recording, the feed, 5 minutes before it finished, because I was so stressed, you know. But, you know, I look back 3 years now, how that changed and how that evolved. And, you know, and I interviewed so many people. Every week I interviewed people in there, and my skills kept growing and I kept learning. And, you know, I have never stopped learning. And, you know, like I have a chat with you every week and I go, I've just learned this again today. You know, so today I'm going back over, like this week I'm going back over ads training on Facebook. So I thought I need to pull my finger out and go and do some ads again. And I've just been organically growing for the last 2 years, because I got to that nice place and, you know, found the right people to talk to and build a business with, which was amazing, or help them build their business. And now it's just, I was like, okay, I'm ready to learn more again now. I'm going a bit deeper. So now I'm ready for that, you know, to learn some new skills, but go on a bit more advanced level now. So, and that's what's good, you know, it's easy.
Just want to say hello to Tracy. Thank you for coming in and joining us. If you have any questions for Tanya around being an entrepreneur, around, you know, social media type stuff, how to get your business out there, how to actually be seen and have people organically connect to you. If you have any questions around that, just pop them in the little chat under there. And I'm just going to go a little bit left of field and ask you what top tip would you give to somebody beginning their spiritual business journey?
Just be open to anything. I think any business, even if you're a spiritual business, is you just really need to be open to seeing what's possible. I think if you hold too much fear, it will stop everything all the time. Like I find that personally. As soon as I have any doubt in my mind, I get it out of my head, like totally clear my head. I'm like, as soon as I put any kind of doubt, that puts that stop in front of you. And it's like that, and it's even almost talking it into your, you know, your realm or your world. And those 3 bad words, don't, won't, can't. So as soon as even that thought process comes in, or the wording comes in, that stops you every angle. So I think being really open to receiving anything these days allows you to make the right judgment, and just to be open to all things that can come to you, and just see what actually happens. Because sometimes if you're holding back so much, you're not allowing anything that needs to actually come to you to allow you to move forward, or allow what needs to come to you, you know, too. So energetically as well. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
And don't be afraid to push the people away.
Yeah.
I think that is a really powerful thing I've learned. If people don't feel right, let them go. You know, so you need to be able to let people go, because if the wrong people come into your life, they can drain your energy, and that can really do a lot of damage to your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Tracy has got a question that's a little bit relevant for right now, and then I'll come back to Brooke's question.
So Tracy
Tracy asked, how do we release that fear?
We might be
Oh, I see. We can still hear you. Well, I could. Got a little bit of a glitch. How does it get any better? At least she's paused at a really good moment. She looks gorgeous. Do that. Does that work? No. Okay. Okay, so I will just keep talking for the moment. Tracy, so for me, when I feel those fears coming up, I look at it, is it actually fear or is it excitement? And if it's excitement, because fear and excitement feel very, very similar. And so what I do is I go, okay, if it's actually excitement, how does it get any better than that? Hi, Cindy. And then if it is actually fear, then I look at that and go, okay, so what truly am I actually afraid of? What is it that is in my world? What is it in my belief systems? What is it within me that is resisting and reacting to this? Where have I been triggered in my life? So I look at all of those elements and sort of go, okay, and then I do a little bit of digging and I do a bit of podpocking and releasing to creator or universe or whatever is required there. So I don't know if that helps at all. Like sometimes it does require a little bit of digging. Sometimes it's just, is it truth? Is it even my fear? Sometimes it's just a case of releasing it back to the person who sent it with consciousness attached. Sometimes, like when fear comes up, just pay attention to where your body is feeling it. Because if you feel it in your implant band, you know where that is now because you've done your bars. So the implant band runs through here and it goes from ear to ear. So if you're feeling it back there at the base of your skull, if it just suddenly gets sort of hot and tensiony, then what can happen is it's actually an implant. It's the fear of an implanted fear from either your parents or society or your genealogy or something like that. And it's still, again, it's not yours. So you can ask for that to all return to centers with consciousness attached, and you'll find that that actually releases it from you as well. And the other thing you can do is ask for, like, when you feel it, if you do happen to feel it back here or in any of the other bars points, you can just ask those points to run. Okay, lack of confidence as I lose my words when in front of lots of people. Excellent. So cool. Yep. So just keep having a look at what is going on there. Okay, hang on. Let me just copy, chuck that back over there. It's still the same thing. Okay. Let's see if that works. Tanya is on her way back. Don't know if that will work. We'll see. See what she does. Yeah, implant band and also the crown. Yeah, cool. So you're certainly having a look at getting your bars run while talking about speaking in front of people. That will, getting you to stop talking is the tricky part. So yeah, Tracy, while you're getting your bars run through a scenario where you are imagine being and speaking to lots of people, okay? And go through how it feels, go through what's happening in your body, and that sort of thing. So it's like you can actually allow all those energies, all of those points of views to start disappearing and dissipating while you're getting your bars run. And it's a really organic way to do that. It's where the bars are so freaking powerful and potent. Okay, Tanya, where are you? Why can't you come back in? I love you guys. He's so cute. Oh dear. Okay. All right. So you're welcome. You're welcome. And jumping back to Brooke, what's the best way to be seen? Don't push your business all the time. So I'm going to give you a little story while I'm waiting to see if Tanya can come back in. Hi, Amanda. So I was sending out newsletters this last month or so, and I noticed that I was getting a lot of unsubscribes. And then I had a look at what was happening with like the content. Here we go. Tanya's back. So
Bloody technology. I had to get the IT man out quickly.
Oh, beautiful. So I was looking at the content that was coming through my newsletters, and I realized really quickly that, so I'm going through a bit of an answering of Brooke's question of how to be seen. So I noticed in my, because I was just all so excited about these podcasts and the things that were coming up and all that sort of stuff. And so my newsletters were blamming on about my podcast and my business and blah, 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 blah. And I was getting unsubscribe. And I was like going, what the fuck? What's going on here? And I mean, it was only like 4 or 5 per email, but it's still, that's a lot for me. And I was like, that's really interesting. And so with the last one that I sent out, I was like not the last email that I sent, my last one, the one before that, I was like, what is going on here? And I get it. People unsubscribe because their email box is full or whatever.
Yeah.
And I get that. But I was like, this is unusual to have so many. And I was like, okay. And I spoke to my business. I had a chat with it and I said, hey, business, what's going on here? And my business turned around and said,
love how you ask your business.
well, it's very wise. It's very wise. And it said, well, they're not connecting with you anymore. You're trying to force your business down their throat. You're trying to force me down their throat. And the reason why they like your newsletters is because they're connecting to you. They like hearing your story. They like hearing your blog type posts, your blog type newsletters. They like it when you get into the nitty gritty. That's how they connect with you. And I was just like, oh yeah, I haven't done one of those in ages. So any social media person would say, don't fucking send out 2 newsletters one day after the other. Don't fucking do it. That's not okay. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I was just like, nah, fuck you. I have to stop this flow of unsubscribes right now.
Yeah, I think email campaigns are becoming more difficult. They used to be the thing of the past, like 2-3 years ago. And everybody, it doesn't matter what they click or open nowadays, it sends them an email. I think I unsubscribed to 5 email campaigns today, and I'm just like, where the hell did these come from? So, yeah, people are getting very peeved off. I would suggest you be better off spending a couple of dollars and run a few ads around just through the Adelaide region. Spend $20 on a week worth of ads and have people subscribe to your podcast. So, it's a lot easier to do that. And then, and it's about leading people from your one thing that you do to the next, to the next, to the next. So, and like Instagram and Facebook are the same platform, so they actually love talking to each other. But if you're on TikTok and tried to send them to your Facebook page, well, that doesn't work because they're two different platforms. They don't like you sending to each other sort of thing. But it's just about being seen, and it's about growing your audience on a daily basis, really, too. So we show you how to build an audience. So just to give you an idea, so coaches tend to go and build their audience in coach group chats instead of looking at actually where their audience is. So I usually I like to do a bit of a social media audit with people and say to them, ask them a series of questions, which kind of leads back to my old past in the education training background. I used to sit down and do a training needs analysis, and that was working out everything about who they were and what they did in their job, and did they have the skills to match it. So I'm like, what I did back then, I'm doing now. So this is pretty cool. And so I still do the same thing. I do a social media audit, and then, I've had a few ladies say to me, well, what do you charge? I said, nothing. I said, I'll give you 15 minutes of my time, and I bet I can give you 20 different things to have a look at. And then they come back and see that I've just given them free value. So change their life quite immensely. And some things it's about, a lot of people just don't automate their business enough, and that's not, and there's a lot into automating your business. So you're not having unwasted chats with people. You're not having unwasted phone calls with people. You're not wasting time with people trying to phone you and chase you and book an appointment. The automation part is that you would wake up in the morning and magically your calendar's booked with appointments and people have actually paid for it.
Yeah.
So gone are the days where, a lot of people go, oh, well, I had all these appointments today and I've lost all, I didn't earn any money. And I'm like, well, you need to change your systems and processes, because business is not done like that anymore. Business is done if people are, if you have a service and people are booking you for the service or for the hour or the half day or whatever it is, they actually pay, and that's normal nowadays. So, and that'll be just maybe around you learning new skills around it, or you're getting away from the fear that you go, oh, I don't know if I could do that. Absolutely you can. And the other thing is sometimes when we look at people that have courses and programs, they are not charging enough. So, so the average course or program nowadays starts at $2,500, really $3,000 and goes up from there. So we sit down and look at what are people putting together, how do they want to put together, how do they want to promote it and advertise it, do they know what affiliate marketing is, and how you can put a course and a program in a place where other people want to sell it and promote it. Most people have no idea that even exists. So we have really interesting conversations, but this is all stuff I learned, only over the last 3 years. And the online world is a very unique and different place, and it grows every day, and it's exciting stuff,
I have to say, one of the best automated things I put into my business was getting onto Calendly.
Yeah.
Like, that has made my life so much easier. Like, there are times I wake up in the morning and suddenly there's a notification there like, hello, I've got extra bookings that have come in. I've been paid while I've been sleeping. This is fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just sharing things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not even $15 a month. Like, seriously, one session covers like pretty much a year's worth almost.
Yeah.
It was 10 months. One session of mine as a body session covers 10 months of Calendly. And so it's like, it's well worth the money getting those automated systems put into place. Is it the best? No, but it's the best for me. It's good. Like, it doesn't have all this huge amounts of bells and whistles that some others do, but I don't require those bells and whistles because I already have a website. I already have other things that are in place, and I just needed something that was actually going to integrate well with my website, and it totally does.
Yeah, and it just needs to be simple sometimes. Like, so we tend to overcomplicate stuff all the time, and this is some really fun conversations I have with a lot of people, especially in their first 3 months. I like to mentor people through this journey in the first 3 months, and So we give them lots of different tasks around writing different things. And this was one you shared with me this morning about, what does your ideal day look like? And sometimes when people come to write a launch post, they'll say, oh, I've spent hours on it and it's taken me days and I don't know if it's right. I'm like, screw it up and throw it out. And they look at me and go, what? I said, it serves you no purpose, whatever you've written, because if you can't flow right and get it out in 15 minutes, throw it out, start again. Because that whatever you've written there is too hard, and if you're struggling with it, your readers are not going to understand it or feel it. So sometimes I say just get a pen. Like I flow right in the mornings. I just find now I've got to a space. I struggled for the first few months learning it, and now I just get up in the morning and obviously something is in my head's got to get out, and there's a message I meant to deliver. So sometimes I actually prefer to do a live. And I just say my message today, whatever my message, I just had the feeling I had to say this today because somebody needed to hear it. So I say, often the first 3 months I take people through the process of keeping it, as they say, keep it simple, stupid, keep the process simple, keep your post, your story simple. And a lot of people are their worst enemy. And these will be people who are grammar Nazis. And I'm dreadful. I'm like the worst writer on the planet. But I've never read books and I've never said, I'm good at writing. I'm good at selling and connecting people and doing other stuff. And I'm good at talking. So I've learnt to, do that on a different level in social media. But even though I've had 20 years of sales and marketing experience on the road, transferring those skills into the online space was so different. So, you've seen it. So as you go through a process, you give yourself, what do you think your skill levels is? And I said I was, about 8 to a 9 on, sales and marketing. And then once I did the first part of the course, I came back and I went, give myself a 1 to 2. Yeah, this is different. This is so different, but it was still translatable, but I just had to unskill myself and just learn it in a very different way, which was so much nice. I was like, this is so much nicer. I actually build, because people go, oh, you've got all these people on your page, but a large portion of them at some stage I've spoken to them. So, and I had a big cleanup last week, moved a couple hundred people off to make way for some new people. So you've got to do that. You've got to clean your social media up, get people off that you've never talked to, and sometimes that's actually good because somebody will go, I didn't see you post today, and they'll go back and check and they'll go, but you unfriended me. And they will actually connect to you and they will say that, but I've just been sitting there watching. So that's okay. And then they come back. So, those honest mistakes will happen, but those people will reach out to you and say, oh, I noticed you unfriended me because I love watching your posts every day. So then they're the people you can now really step up and engage in conversation with. So, and I just like opening the door. What do you do?
Yeah.
What are your skills? What are your background? Do you need to learn anything? Even a lady who had a dog wash business, she's gone and bought a dog wash van. I drove her to Victoria and bought a dog wash van. And I said to her, so how are your skills for social media? And she's like, oh, I don't have any. I said, how are you going to promote that dog wash business? And she goes, oh, I didn't think about that too much. I thought, if I just drive around, people see it and book it. I said, you need to use social media. So long gone is creating websites. Websites probably don't serve much of a purpose anymore unless your website is you're paying running paid ads to it. So that's another conversation for another day, I think. But it's understanding all these things, A lot of people think that if they're going to start a business that they should have all these tools. Well, half those tools that existed 4 or 5 years ago are not needed anymore nowadays. It's understanding what is functionally needed to launch a business or find a business to launch, even if you have products and services. So if you had fishing lures or something like that and you want to sell them, you still need to learn how to use social media. So, but the best thing about this lady, the dog wash business, I picked her conversation up out of a Facebook group. And I said to you, do you know much about water? Washing dogs? And she's like, no, not really. I was just going to buy all these chemicals, this, that, and the other. And I said, what if I could put another product into your dog wash thing to wash the dogs with in a water that will help heal their skin? from skin irritations. Like most dogs have skin irritations because they're not washed properly, or they've got people washing with too many chemicals and creams, or if they're running around in grasses, they get all these skin allergies and irritations around grasses. And I said, do you know much about how water can help a dog with a water protocol? So I showed her that what 2.5 water can do to clean the skin, removes the bacteria out of the skin. And then they put the 11.5 water on it. That removes all the dirt and the oils out of the skin. And then they calm the skin and clean it with beauty water. So then the dog actually feels like, oh, this is beautiful soft water, and you love it. And so then the dogs can start, their skin can heal naturally, and you don't need to use all this other stuff on them. So I've then just given her a couple of value adds, and I said, then you will have a business where you can value add to people's homes by them understanding how simple they can change things just with their animals. And she's like, oh, this is really interesting. So I said, I can have a conversation with anybody around water. Everybody uses water.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. I mean, for me, like in the times that I've used Kangen water, which is the water that we're talking about, it's a Kangen magic machine. It's fucking amazing. And yes, I will be getting one. It may end up being the Christmas present to myself, but that's okay. It will happen. But in the times that I've used the Kangen machine, because Tanya's got a couple that she occasionally loans out to people to just test to see if it works for them. And I've noticed so many changes. Like my head, my scalp would get really, really itchy. And it's not just entity awareness, because that's one of the ways my body shows me that there's entities around. But it wasn't just that. But it was like I'd run beauty water over my head after I'd had a shower, and my hair stopped being so super frizzy for a start. So I settled my hair down, made it softer and more manageable, and my scalp settled down. And then on top of that, my pimples and stuff settled down, which was lovely. And then, of course, because I was drinking the 9.5 water, I was well hydrated. So my eyes were sparkly, and, it was awesome. And then I'm going to have a TMI moment with the people for a moment. So when I was having the Kangen water, drinking 9.5, as I do, like a liter in the morning, first thing up. But then coming into my period, there'd be like a day or two before my period, and I'd still be drinking the water and everything. Seriously, it was like nothing was smelly. Like it took all of the smell out of the period time, and I use a period cup. So it's like generally when you take the cup out and it gets exposed to the air, it's like, boom, you get a smell. And anybody who uses a cup knows that smell. And it's like, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. It's just that's a natural part of, blood that is now being oxidized by the air. But I was absolutely so shocked to see that, number one, I didn't really cramp at all, and the smell was gone out of my cup. And I was like, that is so fascinating. I don't think I've ever seen that ever in my life, like even when the cups were brand new. Wow. So it was just like, far out, this is incredible.
Everyone has their interesting, different, experiences on it and things like that. I suppose just to give a bit of context on that is when you drink ionized water, like electrolyzed reduced water, what it is goes through a filter first, removes the chlorine and the impurities, and then it's electronically charged through 8 titanium plates. So it breaks the water molecules down so fine that when you drink the water, it absorbs through your body. So, and like I do videos on this regularly, and like one lady's like, but water is H2O. And I said, yeah, but it's still dead water. So what that means is we show you have a look at my website, there's a couple of good videos in there shows the oxygen reduction potential in water. So any normal water you drink, any normal filtered water, bottled water, it's actually basically dead water. And so what that means is when you drink it, you're just flushing it straight through. You're actually not absorbing it through the body. So when you understand the science behind it and how that actually works, that's where the real magic begins. So that this in a cup of this water will absorb 80% through your body. So you actually start absorbing it through, and you don't get that full tummy system going on, full of water. So whereas 17% of just a normal cup of water is all you absorb. So a lot of people think if you go and buy alkaline water, bottled water, that it's good for you. Actually, long term, it's not. It actually does worse things for your body than it is. And also, there's quite a few others, so much I could talk about. But when you drink this water for 3 days, it starts to bring your body back to an alkaline state. So it actually changes the state of your body. Now, if anybody has ever been sick or ill and you've gone to a naturopath, or an alternative therapist, they will usually say, first thing is, how much water are you drinking a day? Always. Your chiropractor, your doctor, and anybody you normally see says, first thing you say, are you hydrated and are you drinking enough water? Because that will be usually the cause of most of our sickness and ailments, because we're not hydrated. And then, so naturopaths really talk about keeping our body in an alkaline state, because if we're in an alkaline state, we have less inflammation in our body. We tend to less have any health issues. Our skin's hydrated, our eyes are hydrated, and all of our organs are hydrated. So it's pretty phenomenal stuff. Like, if you have a look through the website, you'll learn lots of different things. You'll learn more about the chemical-free living. And that's been the biggest takeaway too, is showing people that you can clean your entire home with one machine in your house, save yourself, like literally we work out that roughly a family household save $5,000 a year. So the machine is not cheap, it's very expensive, but it's the highest quality grade product that's on the market. There's nothing that comes near it, and it's been there for 50 years. So, and it was originally made for hospitals in Japan. So in Japan, it's a Japanese medical grade device, and it's the highest accolade to be able to get approved in any country in the world is Japan, as far as medical grade devices go. So, the information behind it is quite interesting. But yeah, it just goes to show you like what one product in your home, you can take away all the chemicals. So we're talking about you can use shampoo, but you use conditioner like you were saying before. You just actually pour the 6 pH over your hair instead of using conditioner. So if you've got coloured hair, the colour in your hair will stay so much longer. Like your hair is just so much better. If you have problems with your skin, you'll find when you shower in this, like we have a shower system as well, which is the beauty water. It hydrates your skin on such a different level when you're not putting chlorine and the chemicals into your skin from showering as well, let alone drinking it. So I had the most incredible health change. I can't say what it is. I'm allowed to. The Therapeutic Goods Association does not allow us to make any medical claims on social media, but happy to share that with you if you want to know. But yeah, it's just everybody has a very different journey on it, or people just wanting to look at chemical-free living, sustainable living, so removing plastics and waste out of the house. So that means if you've got a really incredible filtration system in the home, you won't ever go and buy bottled water again. You become a water snob. So,
yeah.
You take your water everywhere. And, the fascinating part is, like, I can go to a restaurant, and they fill my glass up with water, and I'm like, where do I pour that out? You can't just go to the plant over the back and tip that out. I can, ask them to sort of stop if they finish halfway, and then I can grab some Kangen water, and I can actually pour that in over the top of other tap water, and it will change it to Kangen water. So watch the videos and just learn a little bit about that, because it actually shows you that in the videos of how we changed it. And so Kangen doesn't mean a particular water. Kangen is actually the branding name for Enagic, and that just means return to origin, because it has the ability to turn our body back to its natural state. So sometimes it might take a while, but some people, usually 3 days, and some people will detox on it for a couple of days until their body starts going back to its natural state. And if people are really sick, it could take 3 to 6 months, depending on how unwell your body is, to how better you will feel by drinking, really, really good quality water that just hydrates you on such an amazing level. And you just love it because it tastes nice. It's smooth and it's soft, and it's amazing to feel hydrated on a different level than and just drinking tap water. So and
Absolutely.
I hate the smell of chlorine.
Me too.
It's awful. So
One of the
yeah,
reasons
that's
why
a
it
little bit.
keeps me out of the pool.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of my spinal injury, I've got to get in the pool a lot. But I can't stand the smell of it. And I get home and hop into my shower, and I can really, at least this shower system really does take that chlorine out of my skin a lot quicker than if I was washing myself. So I think some of the research I did back a long time ago, on average, when you shower, you absorb up to 8 cups of chlorine in a shower through your body. So because
Whoa.
it's pretty scary, isn't it? So our body is the largest organ, and so if we're showering in it for 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes in a shower, we're absorbing an enormous amount of chlorine into our body. So if you want to research what does chlorine do to our body, that's probably the first thing you should do is research that, because that's the most toxic thing that we can be putting in our body. We can do some really cool things like actually, pour a cup of tap water or, the filtered water, and then we can put chlorine tablets in it, and then we can actually put our fingers in there just for a couple of minutes, and within 1 to 2 minutes, that chlorine, that pink chlorine that we had the tablet in there, will come this clear because your fingers have just absorbed it all. So it just shows you how fast we absorb chlorine out of a glass of tap water. It's pretty scary.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Like I've learned so much, and now I never talked about the water for the first year or so. I just talked about, building a personal brand and that kind of thing, and how we leverage social media to sell anything. If somebody likes who you are, they'll buy anything from you. So, like you, Lorene, you have a few different offers. People love who you are, and they keep coming back for more. I always said,
so lucky.
I need some Lorene love. I need to come and see you.
So just to jump back to a question that Tracy had, and I'd like to get your perspective. So I gave them my perspective of what I would do, because I know some of her training as well. So I know she, like the tools that I gave her, will be more specific to her. You come from a bit of a different background. Her question was around, how do you deal with the fear that comes up of being seen, speaking to lots of people, that sort of stuff?
We give you a lot of strategies around that. You've got to do it slowly, and the process, like in this platform, teaches you everything step by step. So it really gives you over that first, because everyone first comes in here and says, oh, I can't do lives like you do. I said, we don't expect you to do that. You will come at a point, say 3, 6 or 12 months down the track, when you feel you're ready, and this training is designed to follow it step by step. So it takes you through an experiential process, teaches the strategies and the skills. And then the first things that you will usually come out and start doing lives on will be only for 1 to maybe 5 minutes. And you'll be talking about something So it could be, I talked about the medical grade devices I had that I was using for my pain. So I had an Oscar pulse machine, so it irradiated pulses, to heal nerve pain and stuff like that. So I talked about that, talked about the Healy and a few other different things. And then the next one I talked about, because I was really talking about how do you deal with chronic pain. So 3 years ago, that was my first experience of talking about things that I knew about, and just gave people a lot of strategies. I said, if you're going to hospital, because I went to hospital so many times, I think 8 times in 1 year was my worst. The best tip I could give anybody is, if you're going to hospital, it doesn't matter whether you're going for a 10-minute surgery or an hour surgery, or my 2 big spinal fusions were 8 hours, you need to put magnesium in your body, because anesthetic drains magnesium out of your body. So then I learnt about how to present. So we're talking about, so you can see where I'm sort of standing. I'm on a stand station. So when we get you to talk and present, so if you're in, like on my Facebook page, I present standing. So I have a different, persona and standing and presence about how I talk. And then we show you how to present on your mobile phone. And that's not always hanging onto your phone, but get a good quality selfie stick. Sometimes you might need to really hold your phone out so that you understand that you're not looking up to your phone because you don't want people looking up under your nose. So these are your tips for you today. Don't look down at your phone. Make sure that you are always actually looking, out, so that when you're seeing yourself, practice recording yourself. So they were the first strategies that we learnt, was just to open a video on Zoom, to stand there and talk about different things. My first videos were so bad. I was standing there with, I used an O-ring and I had a piece of paper behind it, but because I was shaking so much after I recorded the lives, I was like, all I could hear was the paper rattling. But this is about people seeing you go on a growth journey. Okay, so when you talk about leveraging social media and learning how to build a personal brand, this is about people watching you go on a journey. So all the new people that come in, sometimes I got 5 new people this week. And I take them on an experiential process. If they feel overwhelmed, they talk to me every week. I will bring them back down, and sometimes I'll say, turn it off. Serves you no purpose. If you're really creating anxiety and overwhelm, you need to just do a little bit each day just to learn new skills, push yourself outside your comfort zone, and just learn to feel comfortable to talk to no one. Okay. Mm-hmm. When you first start doing this, it's not about wondering if anybody's on live. You need to be able to learn how to just press that button, go live, and start talking and deliver your message. Because if you don't capture the audience in that first 3 to 5 seconds, you're done. They just go across. I hear people go, I'll just wait for somebody to come on, and then I'll move the video across, another minute. 3 minutes later, I'm still waiting for. I'm like, done. Gone. You've lost your audience. So we show you how to present, get on and just talk and deliver your message as if there's no one on there. I might get 5 or 10 people on there. I try not to even acknowledge them, because 99% of the audience is going to come back and watch it later. They don't want to hear you having conversations with other people. They've come on to hear your message and you speak about what it is you're going to deliver that day. So that's really just understanding how to deliver a powerful message or do a powerful live. Don't get distracted about who's on live and the comments. You can come back and answer those after. And if you see a lot of them commenting, just say, I really appreciate it. I see you commenting today. I'll come back and answer them afterwards. So just that quick acknowledgement and get back onto your conversation. So all of that training is in there. It just teaches you through step by step. But my first part of it was really just recording myself. And then, 6 months down the track, I launched my Facebook group, because they teach you about how to bring your audience to you. And then I really just thought, it showed me about how to dig down to find out how to create that, what was the purpose. So a Facebook group's got to have purpose and intent. So, and it's not about just putting posts in there, because people hate being in a Facebook group and they're just saying stuff, So a Facebook group needs to have a live interview once a week, and something else, So an interview is great because that gives great interaction and feed. People will come back and want to know more. And the other one is give them a bit of social media training. So what better place to do that is to learn this in this platform that we use. And then the great thing is I just deliver my training out of this platform. And when I first started, I was like, what am I going to do this week? And I would watch a training video. I'm like, this is really good. I'm going to deliver it. So I'd watch it and I go, yeah, I can replicate that in 10 minutes and just deliver it, and people will think I'm great. So I'd already done the platform once over. So the second time was about me implementing the strategies and doing it again and being repetitive and learning it. And then people thought I was like a real social media guru. I'm like, oh, this is good. I'm actually learning. I'm earning, and I'm becoming more skilled and confident. And the girls said to me the other day, you are so polished. And I said, oh, it's so funny, but I feel like I have no fear over anything now. So, but everybody starts from that fear, which is good.
Yeah,
really good. For sure. Makes you grow.
Yeah, I'll share my little story just so that, because a lot of people go, oh gosh, you're just so natural on lives and, doing what I do now on the podcast and stuff like that. But if you had met me going back probably 2016, that was when my social media and my personal branding really started to come forward. And there was one point where I was actually a VA, so a virtual assistant for a lovely lady, and we were having to I was sitting in the background for her on a podcast, but it was like there was no video or anything. It was just voice. And I was in the back end, like just managing things. And when people had a question, they'd put up their virtual hand, and it was all good. And I was given the task of interrupting the lady doing the host lady doing the thing, so that she could know to answer their question. And I didn't want to do it. I was so fucking scared to have my voice on a recording, just my voice on a recording, that I said to her, how can we get around this? And I said to her, can we have Facebook chat open? So I'll just send you a message through Facebook chat, and then you'll know that there's someone there that needs to have their question answered.
I love
it. and she's like, yeah, sure. And so she let me get away with that for a couple of weeks. And then the third week, she'd accidentally forgotten to have her Facebook chat open. So I had to interrupt her. I had to use my voice, and she did it on purpose, the little toad, to make me, to stretch me out, to actually allow me the space to know that it's okay for my voice to be heard. Even just in that little one. Yes, exactly, Brooke. Now you can't fucking stop me talking. My family's been saying that for years.
I'm just as bad. I never shut up.
And then I joined up with a little bit while later after that, a few months later after that, I joined up with a Facebook group that had, anywhere between over 2,000 people in it. It was a really, really big group, and it was a 30-day video challenge where every day you had to load up another video. And you could put it on whatever. And I'm actually thinking about doing one myself. But anyway, we'll see.
That idea.
Go for it. You can do it. Go for it. Enough going on right now, really. And I've done several of these video challenges since then. But my very first one, hi, Carol. Hi, Annette. Yep. So my very first few videos in that group, I had it on my, like your picture camera, because this is in the day before video, like live Facebook Lives were existing, but you could load up video. So I had my picture camera that you could take video on. Yep. I had it set up on my fridge. So I was standing up, and
Did you have it glued to the fridge with blue tack on the other side?
No, because I had a short fridge. So it was okay. But I had what I wanted to say all written out, blue tack to my fridge so that I could read it, because I was too scared of making a mistake.
Oh, that's so good.
I recorded it at least 10 times because I wasn't happy. It was not perfect enough. And so...
Yeah, that's not good, is it? You just love yourself.
And so I eventually was happy with what it was, and I loaded it up, and I was spitting tacks. I was not spitting tacks, but shitting myself. Seriously, I was crapping my dacks, as we would say. Yeah. It was just like, oh my god, everybody's gonna hate this. Everybody's gonna think it's shit. I can't believe I just put that up there. And I mean, it was it was a private group, but there was like 2,000 people there, way more. And at that stage, I had a rule about not having any more than 80 friends in my Facebook world. So at that time, it was a big stretch for me to do it. Now I'll rock up, in May, Magical May, I had a group up there. We did 30 videos. I had we had a challenge every single day. I rocked up in there every single day on a Facebook Live. I didn't give a shit whether I was dressed like this, whether I was in my pajamas, whether I'd just come out of the shower. I didn't care. I was just showing up every day.
And that's what people want.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one night it was like 2:00 in the morning, and I'd only just gotten off doing what I was doing, and I was like, shit, I haven't done my video yet. Let's go. And there's me in my pajamas in my bed.
Yeah.
With my phone out here. It was wobbly, but do you know what? I showed up.
Exactly. And that's what people want.
That's right. They want the real you. So if you want to know how to connect with people, if you want to know how to get over the fear of speaking to public, like live people, start doing Facebook Lives. So Tracy, you have your gorgeous little puppies. That's something I know that you could speak about for ages.
It just, the first few months is just talking about stuff, even if it's about animal hair care, what clothes, like you'd be amazed. Like, this is some of that simple strategy we teach people. The most engaging videos or stories you're going to be doing is the most weirdest stuff that you think that nobody else will want to know. So I did one the other day just to prove the point to my friends. I'm going to do a video about folding sheets. And they're like, oh, yeah. Here's one of those weird jobs I had years ago, right? So in between, throwing my career in from cooking, because I lost my last business too, but I worked at the Stirling Hospital for about 6 months, and I ended up working in the laundry. And so it was a great job. I worked with this guy. He was gay. He was the funniest bloke I've ever worked with. And we were just folding sheets all day. So I can fold sheets, like whip them, and they're folded up. They're beautiful. And I thought, oh, all right, I'm going to go down into my new kitchen down there. I've got a bit more room. And I'll do a video on folding sheets. And I had hundreds of views in the first 24 hours, and people going, oh, I wish I knew how to fold those fitted sheets. Now I can do it. Like, and everybody's telling me, even private messaging me, because some people don't like putting a comment on your page, right? People are private messaging me going, oh my God, that's like the best video. I wish now I can fold sheets.
Yeah.
And so it is just priceless, So, and like I was talking about before, now I'm doing some cooking things, giving people some fun activities and just learning, So it's the real simple stuff. Because even if you're a stay-at-home mum, new mums don't know stuff. So you're an expert in something particular that, you just never know what other people will want to know. And it's just really simple things. Yeah, just like that. A cooking tip. Or how to use things on your mobile phone. Even though we're in a social media training education platform, we get together as a group in Adelaide regularly and go out and have lunch. And we all go, what did you learn this week? And we're all sitting there sharing stuff on our phones and things that we didn't even know were possible to do on a phone. So somebody comes up with some new strategy each week. So we're like, oh, this is cool. We constantly learning, and it's fun. Like, the scary part is starting. And I reckon within 12 weeks, once you've started learning that new skill, and this is what the context needs to be. When you started riding a bike, when you were 6, you learnt to ride a bike in 6 weeks or less, didn't you? Social media is very much the same. Once you start, you push the new skills. It's scary. It's the same as riding a bike. It was bloody scary when you were 6. Your first job was the same. When you were 10, 12, 13, 15, that was scary. Even my last job, running a super portfolio for Far North Queensland with 110 staff, when I took on the job, I was terrified, thinking, holy shit, can I really do this job? Am I physically capable of doing this? And for 3 months, I nearly had a breakdown many times. And I was like, but after I got past that 3 months, I pushed past the fear and I understood the skill. I learned the job and I'm like, this is easy. Then it became that. This is no bloody difference, exactly the same thing. And 3 months definitely seems to be the pinnacle point when you dive right in, because I always say to people, you want to do this, go all in, just don't go, I'll do a little bit here and I'll do a bit there. That will serve you no purpose because you're not putting it into practice. And that's about, like riding a bike, putting into practice that first 6 weeks, 12 weeks. That first 12 weeks breaks your patterns, creates a new pattern, and then you keep moving forward and you're going, oh, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
And I would say, if you're a consumer on social media, if you are spending, and I would say, if you guys want to comment here, tell me how many hours a day are you on any social media? Because I bet it's more than an hour. So So if we teach you how to use social media in the right way and you're on it no more than an hour a day and you can make a shit ton of money, do you want to know how to do that? That's what we do. So we teach you to be on social media for an intentional purpose, but you've got to follow a strategy when you get on it, do a certain few different things, do what you need to do, and then get off it. Because it serves you no purpose. You are having no life if you are on social media all the time. And everybody's concept of thinking that I'm on social media all the time is full on. Like everybody thinks I'm on there 24/7. I'm hardly not on at all. My phone does go off at night. So doing something like this is a bit of a stretch for me because I like to have my phone off at dinner time. I give my attention to my husband. That's like our time. I don't like to be on doing things at night normally, but it's only certain circumstances like this. But yeah, I turn my phone off. Weekends is our time too. Like we go out and do our things, and unless Dale was working, doing something, then I will clear the space and the work comes at me. It's like one of those energetic things you say. If I say I'm not working on the weekend, I don't pick up any work. If I say Dale's working, I'm like, all right, what's going to come at me? No joke, stuff just comes. People come at me. And my day's full, which is great because I get to have great conversations, meet new people that want to know what I'm doing and how can I help them. So, and I think you just need to learn how to leverage social media in the right way, get on it and get off it and go and enjoy your life.
Absolutely.
We teach people about the more fun you have, the more money you will make.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, Brooke, if I can give you a little bit of a hint, you've started doing a lot more walking and stuff lately. And I know you're doing like your spiritual 101. He's a healer, medium type person, psychic. So instead of only having your social media being, your podcasts and stuff that are coming up, why not do a live while you go for a walk talking about spiritual stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. You can't assume that people know what you do.
Yeah.
Because they don't, and this is one thing we make really clear to everybody, no matter what they do when they use this platform. If you're not making it really clear to people what you do, and for people to understand it, because you think everyone knows what you do, but 9 out of 10 people don't. And that'll be anything like sheet folding or a bookkeeper will think that everybody understands tax stuff because that's what they do. Or just, I don't know, I've had some weird conversations with people and they say, teachers are the worst, actually. Teachers always say to me, but everybody knows it. And I says, why do you think everybody knows that? And I said to them, if you could, do a course and teach grandparents how to homeschool kids, and they go, but they already know that. And I said, why? How? And they go, well, they should. And I'm like, why? I said, just because you're a teacher. I said, all my friends that are homeschooling, my neighbours are homeschooling their grandchildren, and they're doing it via Zoom interstate as well. I said, I've asked them all these questions and they've got no idea. So, and I said, you've just proved the point that you think because you're a teacher, like you guys are like probably the most square boxed in person people, as in, their mentality, because they're in the Department of Education, they don't really think outside the box as much. So when I crack that box and start talking to them on a very different level, they come back a week later and just go, holy shit, my head's just spinning. Now I've realized what I can do. And I said, yeah, you've just been you really, your language and the way you talk is very, very narrow, I suppose. So we teach them how to be a bit more expansive with what they can do and how they can actually help people in a different way. And so, I've been really having interesting conversations with teachers of how they can make some really simple, easy money right now because of COVID has changed the demographic of everybody's jobs, careers, people working from home, homeschooling now. There are a lot of people out there with NDIS packages as well that are looking for teachers to come and deliver in-home services. And a friend of mine's got 9 children and 5 of them have an NDIS package. So she can actually have educators working in her home while she's homeschooling the other kids. And when I've asked the other teachers, I took a group of them on a Zoom call the other day and showed them this, and I said, what do you earn an hour? And they said, oh, on average, it's $50 an hour. I said, what would you do if you could earn $150, $180 an hour? And they're like, what? And I said, you would work less hours. You could work a couple of days a week. You could work inside somebody's home and be much more relaxed. You won't be high strung. You don't have to deal with all the other garbage that the Department of Education, because I've worked in the Department of Education, so I know exactly what goes on there. It's a headache. So I was really able to relate with them what goes on in their workplace and what if we can change that situation and flip that and can you do this? And they're like, so they didn't even know that existed. And I said, that's because you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
So you haven't come to this point in your life, which was what happened to me. And that's why I say you've come to this point in your life, which has led you to here. And now we're having a conversation. And they go,
yeah,
wow. So I said, if you need to earn a cash income today, you can do that. And then we can show you how then to start implementing some other things. So many things you can do. How do we leverage social media? And then we put some high ticket products behind you where you make big money. And so we talk between, $300 to $2,500 or $4,500 a sale. Then they go, oh, let's talk further. So once I started learning that and actually seeing it, I was like, Jesus, this is actually really easy and anyone can do it. It's just, learning new skills.
That's right. That's right.
Just stretching yourself out of the comfort zone.
I have one final question for you. And it's a really left of field question.
Go for it.
All right. If you could sit next to any person on the park bench for the afternoon and it's a nice sunny day and the mozzies aren't biting and you're not getting sunburned because you're sitting under a nice, lovely tree, if that's where you wish to be, and the birds aren't pooping on your head.
Well, naturally the right conversation would be saying you.
Who would that be? And that can be any person, dead or alive.
Yeah, one person that, I spent a lot of years growing up as a kid sick, so I did watch a lot of Days of Our Lives and different things like that. But one person who has inspired me all through my life has been Oprah Winfrey.
Awesome.
That woman is just such an inspiration to everybody and a leader of this world, and she just gives, just all. And Ellen DeGeneres is another one that I absolutely love. Like I could sit next to Ellen and have a conversation with her. But they are probably two of the most inspiring people that, the word that comes to mind, that person that comes to mind that I watched and followed and for years and years and years, loved their shows, just loved who they were. And this is when we talk to you about personal branding. Now, Oprah changed her name from Oprah to O and then went back to Oprah. So you look at all the people that are branded, like Richard Branson. He's Richard Branson. Everybody knows what he does. He does multiple things, but he's known as Richard Branson. So it all comes back to the name. The people know who you are by what you stand for, how you live your life on purpose. But then you come and share that. So, I love being on this life journey now. But my other job pushed me out the door and now my life's 10 times better and I get to meet awesome people like you.
Yay!
So and I'm hoping to get to meet Brooke and come and check out what he does or just go and have a conversation over a coffee.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's so many amazing people that are now in my social media world that weren't there before, that have come in through really organic sources, and it's super fun. Fun.
Yeah.
My reading show that I have on a Friday, Find You Fridays, is like, it's growing every single week. It's growing bigger and bigger. And I'm just like, this is so exciting to me. And that's the other thing that I would suggest is when you are in the social media world, number one, don't expect there to be any viewers.
Yeah.
But when you do get them, get really fucking excited about it. And because the thing is, what that does is it puts an energy out into the world that the people who are going to come and connect with you, you're going to celebrate them. And they're going to love that. They love that feeling of feeling special in your world.
Absolutely.
Which is why, like, Holly, hi, I haven't said hello to you yet. Hello, Holly. Hello, Holly. That's actually a really hard one to say running on. Anyway, greetings, Holly.
Beautiful name. Yeah.
You know, and that to me is really exciting. So it's like, when I see how many views I've had, how many shares I've had, when I see that and it's growing organically and exponentially, I'm just so freaking excited about it. When I receive money, I get really excited about it. I don't care if it's 5 cents or, you know, $5,000. To me, it's all has the same energy. And
Yeah.
the more that you bring that feeling of excitement and gratitude and joyousness to the connections that people bring in with you, whether it be through your social media, whether it be face-to-face, whether it be via emails or money that they give you, like, if you can continue that feeling, then that goes out into the world and more people find you. But if you're sitting there going, oh, fuck, I only got 7 views today, and oh, shit, look, I only got 2 shares, and one of those shares was mine, and oh, fuck, look at that. Like, I've only had 4 people comment.
Yeah, like, we teach you the art of social media. Yeah, when you write compelling content, it doesn't matter if nobody likes it or reads it. And I reckon in the next year or two, we'll actually probably see that action go off, because right now what it is about people who hit that see more button to open your post up and read it. So that's how it creates an algorithm for your social media. So don't ever get hung up on whether people like it or comment on it. I know a lot of my family and friends read everything I put up there. They don't like any of it and they don't comment on it. But they tell me in a personal message chat that they love reading what I write. So that's all you need to know. You need to not get hung up. When you have a business on social media, you need to get not hung up on any kind of posts. We repurpose posts as well. But often the post you put up today won't get read till 4 days later. So that's an average time frame for a post to get read, because it needs to get some traction of people opening and seeing it. And, you know, when you do launches, there's a launching strategy. So it's not just about putting a post up and going, yeah, we're doing this tonight. It needs to be 5 days ahead, so that creates that algorithmic post that people see it. Well, I'm getting together with 4 different women. We're going to do some webinars in July. So my social media for the next 2 weeks is going to be very active around creating anticipation posts around what we're doing. And they're 2 very different webinars with 4 different women. So one's aiming the corporate market, fly and fly out workers, and the other one's just general people. So we've got a hairdresser, a lady that just rides horses on a farm, and I'm doing the corporate side because I'm that corporate background, and another lady's a stay-at-home mum with 9 kids. So you'll hear this story, you know, across different aspects. And so we show people how to launch properly and launch powerfully, so that when we have this event happen, there's a lot of people there that want to hear this. So we don't spam people. That's the worst part of any business, is actually sending people messages and say, buy my product, buy my service. And then we're in the market of attraction marketing, and that's what social media is good for. People attracting you, you know, they want to come and have your service or do what you're doing or hear what you're doing, because they like watching you and hearing you. And, you know, and I've just proved the point myself, is the amount of people that I have spoke to, even one I spoke to a year ago has come back, and he's in the Navy in Sydney. I went up and met him and his wife, and I gave him a water ionizer to use for a month because they actually wanted to try it. And, you know, they went quiet for, 12 months. So he was out to sea for about 6 months, and he came back. And then the other day they said, yep, no, we're going to do this, you know, not only buy a machine, they want to come on as a distributor. So he said, I've just seen how easy it is that you've done it. And I said, yeah, all I've done is be myself and just talk about the water. So I talk about health benefits, cleaning fruit and vegetables, taking a household chemical free, and just all the features and benefits of it. But I don't talk about that all the time. I only do it usually once a week. The other days are just being myself. Or if we're in a launch, I'm going to smash my social media on the launch. As soon as the launch is over, I'm like, oh, thank God that's done. And then I just get back to me, and it's talking about my cat, my garden, my food. And it's just doing, photos of you and I going out for lunch, being human. And that's what people want. So just remember, people want to see you go on a journey, because if you have to be perfect when you launch out the gate, that's when people go, there's something wrong here. They want to see you go on a learning pathway and watch your journey, because they will see that growth in 3 to 4 to 6 months of you changing online. And then they will want to do what you're doing or hear what you're doing, because they can see the benefit of it. And that's all it comes down to. So hope that says it.
There's a little question up there. Thank you for all of that. There's a question up there from Annette talking about asking for any advice for scammers cloning sites, contacting your following, and making websites under your business name that's trademarked. Is that something that you'd like to cover now, or have you got advice for that maybe Annette can contact you directly about?
No, you can. I can cover that off. There is a friend of mine, if your site is trademarked, like if your business is trademarked, I would suggest you actually go and talk to a lawyer. I can recommend one in Adelaide. Her name is Maggie Yarrick at YLP Legal. She deals an extraordinary good lawyer and deals just in trademarking. She's a personal friend of mine. When people clone your business pages, because there are so many scammers out there now, you just can't do anything about it. So all you need to do is, I've had mine cloned. I even had someone clone my page and then contact me, and I looked at the page and I'm going, you must be a total fuckwit. Like, really? You've cloned my page and then you've contacted me. I'm like, you really are a dumb person. But soon as somebody clones your pages, you just need to say, because your friends will send you a message straight away. I've just been contacted and this and this. So just really, there's been a massive spate of it on Instagram just recently. And people are cloning your Instagram accounts. And then they're sending messages through Messenger and saying, can you, I've just done this, and then can you do this? So your friends pretty much nowadays should understand that this is fraud, so it's not real, and you don't engage in the conversation. But what you need to do is ask your friend who sent you a message saying this has happened. They're on their end, they need to then log it as this is a copied account, fraud, or whatever. Facebook and Instagram will shut them down straight away. It's not something we can't do it. They can only do it to the people that they've sent the friend request to and that kind of thing. So you need to report it. And then if there's any issues, must block them.
You would think that, unfortunately, I know that a couple of the people in here have both had their accounts in Facebook land, their business pages being cloned, and those people have then been contacting them, not contacting the contacts, and I reported them as being a clone.
Yeah.
And Facebook came back and said, we've had a look at it. It looks fine. We're not going to shut it down.
The more people that complain about it, the better. So I always ask everybody, to do it. So if it's just one person, they might, no. One of the worst incidences that I have seen is a lady that I knew in Tasmania. She had a Facebook group where she was doing selling training on Instagram packages, and she was charging people $1,000 just to do like a 12-week course. And she was selling it through her Facebook group. And these guys cloned her Facebook group. They got hold of her PayPal and all that kind of stuff because she had so much of it on there. It was easy for them to go and access. They hijacked her Facebook page, and she started getting messages from people saying, I've paid for your course. Where is it? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it wasn't until a week later she found out they'd hijacked her page and they had been taken all of the money from these people. So I don't know whether, sometimes whether you have a leg to stand on it, because it's not, it's not a business page, a website. We're using a social media platform that really is open to anything occurring. So you need to be protecting yourself and understanding social media properly. And if you have a business nowadays, this is why we say to And I did Kerwin Ray's course last year because he's done training in this platform as well for us. But like I said, if you don't know your business, you don't know your business, and that you're just leaving yourself open for all sorts of things. So why would you not invest in really understanding your business? Because nowadays you have to understand social media and how it actually works. So the first thing I say to people is really making sure your social media channels are set up properly. So you need to go into your settings on a regular basis and keep checking that it's set properly, because there's been a couple of times I've gone back in mine and I've gone, that's changed and it's not set properly in there again. So I've had to go back and tweak it again. Some of the worst things you'll see, and I do notice people when I say to them, your account's just been hijacked, people are putting posts on your page. And that the simple tip you can do today is go and open your settings and do not allow anybody to post on your page unless it's prior approval from you. So that will sit in your notifications and saying, Lorene wants to post on my page today. Do I give approval? And I'll say yes. And, quite often you'll see the scam posts that come up, quite common ones that come up quite regularly. And I'll say to someone, you've just had somebody put a scam post on your social media, and they often don't even see it unless I bring it up to their attention. So I always say, go to your settings, put on there that no one is allowed to post on your page, unless you give approval. So I don't allow anybody to put posts on there. And I get 3 or 4 a day, people trying to post stuff on my page, or they're tagging me in posts. And, if you're going to tag people in the post, have permission from those people first. You're better off putting a post up and in the comments underneath it, if you want those people to see it, do it that way. Tagging them means that that's going to put it on their social media page, and most people don't like that nowadays. So, it needs to be done.
You're advertising for your podcast where your person is going to be your guest.
Yeah, and some of my friends that have regular different things on, I say, tag me in the posts. I'm happy to put that on my social media. So, if it's generating, offering a service or things that people want to go to, I'm happy to share it. But just spam stuff, there's nothing worse, especially if you're running a business or a service, or just learning to get your pages up and going. So
beautiful. Thank you for coming to play with us.
Jay, your chat was lovely. It's gone for a long time, so if you've only joined in the last half an hour, you might have to go back and watch the start because you've missed a lot.
You did.
And you want to get yourself a notepad and paper too, because you might need to take a lot of notes.
Excuse me. I need to go drink some more water. Funny.
Yes, yeah. And we might what we might do is just pop I just created a new landing page the other day. So if you did want to come and check out like the platform and have a look at what we use, you can just search like in the search bar as Tanya Benlow allinoneword.com. That'll lead you to the Freedom Era, and you can watch a 45-minute webinar just to see it and hear a bit more about it. And they have a 14-day trial as well. So the platform's so big that it does create overwhelm for most people. So I usually have to sort of see how they go in that first 3 months. But so what they decided to do is shut it down and just give you 3 parts in 14 days to come and see it and learn a bit about it. And then after 14 days, if you decide, you go, yeah, this sounds really good, this is what I want to open up and have a look at all the rest, because you'll see all the other different contents and courses and master classes, and they have entrepreneurs from all around the world every fortnight talk about different things. Then you can pay the rest and unlock it. So it's charged, even though it's an Aussie-based one, it's charged in US dollars because they do it through PayPal system. So it's $22 US to use it for 14 days. You can just pay by the month, use it for 3 or 6 months, which is $99 US a month, or you can pay $897 US for a year, which is about $1,000. And that will give you the best educational platform you'll ever build your business skills around. But you'll be supported by the most incredible entrepreneurs from around the globe in there. So I can highly recommend just to go and have a use of it for a year. If you decide you want to partner with the products in there, that's up to you. There's no contracts on it. So, and everything that's in that platform you can take out and use in your business. So it's designed to give you workbooks, PDF files to use in your business. And the best thing about that platform is that if you ever want anything in it, they will do their best to put it in it. So I have just requested that an entire new course section be put in there on creating courses that we can sell online. So there's a lot of bits and components of it in there, but it's not a whole section. So I've asked them to actually create it as a whole section. So
that's fantastic.
Hopefully see that in there in the next few months. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for having me. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you everybody for coming to play. And of course, we'll be back on Friday night with Find You Fridays at 8 p.m. Adelaide time. And you can reach Tanya either through waterbalance.com.au or through her Facebook. That's in the show notes there for you to catch up with Tanya. If you're interested in whatever she's got had said tonight, if you're curious about the social media aspect, if you're curious about water and all the yummy stuff to do with the water side of things and creating your own business that you can monetize and set you on a lifelong path of awesomeness.
Yeah.
There we go. There's Tanya.
Love it. I think it just opens you up to a world of possibilities. That's all it is, isn't it?
Surely does. It surely does. And the best part about all of this is connecting with other incredible people.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you next on Friday. And next week we have Paula Dutch on as my guest. So how does it get any better? Until then. We'll see you later. Bye.